Hey guys, it's Brian. Welcome to the awards contender. The time has come for my annual reacting to old Oscar predictions. So every March, I do a ridiculously early Oscar predictions video looking ahead many months. What do I think is getting into picture, actor, actress? What do I think is going to be a major Oscar player? It's kind of a guessing game. I don't really know. I'm just going off of vibes. I'm going off of these films feel like the safest predictions at this moment in time. So in mid-March of 2025, I gave my ridiculously early Oscar predictions. And now, close to 11 months later, it's time to react. How well did I do? I have no idea. I can't even remember what I was talking about 11 months ago. I mean, except for one. I know what number one is going to be. A film that got 0 Oscar nominations this year. So yeah, I will play some of my footage from back then. I will react and we'll see how well I did. I don't know. I'm kind of scared, guys. Let's start with number one, Wicked for Good. So let's talk about this one right here at the beginning. Will that be nominated next year for Best Picture, Best Actress,
Nope.
Best Supporting Actress?
No.
Is going to win things again in technical categories.
No.
Okay, guys, so my Oscar fiasco video on Wicked for Good is coming. It's just a few days away. I have to make a video about that because, in the early months of 2025, that just made sense. Maybe not to win, right? Maybe it doesn't win picture, actress, supporting actress and stuff. But if you had told me in March of 2025 that Wicked for Good would get 0 Oscar nominations, I'd be like, why? What possible reason could there be? I still don't fully understand it, to be honest. I know it didn't get as good of a reception as the first movie, but 0? Really? Yeah, that just felt like the safest prediction 11 months ago, thinking ahead to the 2026 Oscar ceremony. Even if it didn't overperform, Wicked for Good was getting in again, right? And it didn't. I mean, it's just wild. It's just still wild to me. It didn't even register when I was watching the Oscar nominations a couple weeks back. Wait a second. Wicked for Good is getting nothing. Not even makeup or costume design or production design. Nothing. So yeah, I mean, I still stand by that old prediction. It would have been kind of silly 11 months ago to say, an early prediction I'm going to make is that Wicked for Good gets nothing. That would have been wild for me to predict that all those months ago. So it makes sense, but nope, I was wrong about that one. Number 2, Bugonia.
Okay.
Bugonia. All right. Is this going to be like Poor Things, or is it going to be like Kinds of Kindness?
More
That's
like Poor
the question
Things.
about Bugonia, which is the next pairing of Emma Stone and Yorgos Lanthimos. Yeah, that was the big question 11 months ago. How well was Bugonia going to do at the Oscars? It wasn't clear because Kinds of Kindness kind of came and went, right? It got 1 Golden Globe nomination for Jesse Plemons. It did not get into the Oscars. It felt to me, even sight unseen, not having seen a still or a trailer or anything, I thought Bugonia was going to be a bigger deal than Kinds of Kindness. It was going to do better during award season. I mean, it's not as strong as Poor Things, right? Bugonia is not going to win anything at the Oscars. I mean that's at least what I'm feeling right now. But it got into adapted screenplay, Best Actress, and Best Picture. It's in picture. So it did fairly well. It's not it doesn't have the strength of Poor Things, but it's doing much better than Kinds of Kindness. I mean, I still think Jesse Plemons was in 6th place for that Oscar nomination of Best Actor. He got really close. So yeah, in the early months of 2025, looking ahead, you think about there's a new film directed by Yorgos Lanthimos starring Emma Stone coming out in the fall that's probably going to be an awards contender, and it turned out to be. Number 3, One Battle After Another. So I'm not sure if that's the title of this movie right now. It was a working title at one point. The movie might be called something else later this year, I'm not sure. But this is definitely going to be an Oscar contender, the latest film from Paul Thomas Anderson, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. Okay, so if I had not talked about One Battle After Another 11 months ago, I mean, that would have been crazy, right? Paul Thomas Anderson, most of his movies have gotten in at the Oscars, many of them in picture and director and screenplay and stuff, acting categories. So to not talk about One Battle After Another last March would have made no sense. I'm happy it's right there at the beginning, like the number 3 film to discuss. I remember, like, the interesting thing about that movie was I felt pretty confident last March it was going to be a major Oscars contender. And then over the summer, I was kind of going back and forth. The trailer gave some genre movie vibes, like more action. And I was like, okay, maybe it's just going to be an action film that comes and goes in September. Maybe it gets into a few categories, but it's not in picture, director and stuff. I remember, I would say in like June, July, I wasn't so sure. And then people started seeing it in September and saying, oh my God, it's freaking great. And I was like, okay, I can relax. Like this is going to be an amazing film. It's going to be a huge Oscars contender. And right now, like I mean, you could say it's at least close to being the front runner to win Best Picture, Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay, probably one acting category. We shall see. So yeah, that would have very much disappointed me 11 months ago if I hadn't have talked about One Battle After Another. I think the PTA of it all made it pretty clear. Like, even if it's not a huge contender, it's going to be talked about in the months to come for sure. Number 4, After the Hunt. So this one could go either way. I don't know. Yeah, we don't know either way, Brian. But this is the latest feature film from Luca Guadagnino, who had a very busy 2024, right? He had Challengers and he had Queer, in the early month. Man, I felt so confident in After the Hunt for months. One reason, guys, this coming summer, I'm not going to do my extremely early Oscar prediction series like May, June, July. I'm not going to do predictions in the summer. You have to wait until August when I do my very early predictions video. I talked about After the Hunt ad nauseum last summer. Like when I was talking about actress, Julia Roberts got a big segment, Best Supporting Actor. I was talking about Andrew Garfield, director. I'm pretty sure I predicted Guadagnino would get an Oscar nomination for Best Director. I was feeling good. I thought the storyline of that movie, Guadagnino working with Roberts, and I got kind of like a Social Network vibe with that one. I was like, oh, this could be something really great. It's probably going to get into a bunch of Oscar categories. And then it premiered at Venice. I mean, within one day, I wasn't there, but just hearing the feedback, like from critics that first day it premiered at Venice, I went, okay, nope. Like it was lackluster enough of a response. I was like, now, outside of a miracle, I don't think it's going to be an awards contender anymore. And then I saw the film a few weeks later, and I was like, Julia Roberts is good. I think she gives a very good performance, but everything around her, it just doesn't work very well as like a complete film. So Roberts gets in at the Golden Globes. That's like the one big nomination for the movie this award season. At least there was that. And she got to give Ava Victor that sorry baby shout out. Like we had that moment from Roberts, but After the Hunt, basically once we all saw it in September, October, it was like, no, this is not getting in at the Oscars. It did not. And yeah, I was so bummed out because I'm a huge Julia Roberts fan. It had been a long time since she'd been in the Oscars conversation, August Osage County 2013. I thought that could be the one to do it. I've decided moving forward, when Luca Guadagnino is directing a new film, don't put it in my ridiculously early Oscar predictions video, because with After the Hunt and Challengers and Queer, all 3 of those movies came up with nothing on Oscar nominations morning. So it's like the next film he makes, I'll say, nope, sorry, Luca, I'm not predicting it. And then that will be the one that turns into Call Me By Your Name and gets into picture and acting categories and becomes, this big awards film. But we'll see if that ever happens. As of now, Luca, I'm not predicting your next movies anymore. Number 5, Marty Supreme.
Hey!
So this is the next Christmas movie release starring Timothée Chalamet.
Yep.
And I don't know, guys. I feel like Chalamet is at a point in his career where we can never discount him, And if he's working with a talented director, if he has a film that's, maybe not like a straight drama or anything, but like based on the images I've seen of Marty Supreme, like it's a period film, he looks very, very different. And I mean, it's a Safdie brother directing, and it's got a really good ensemble cast. IMDb describes it as a comedy. Did IMDb describe it as a comedy last March? I mean, it's funny. I feel like it's more dramatic than it is comedic. But it did go into comedy musical at the Globes, so there was that. Yeah, Marty Supreme, that was kind of an easy prediction to make 11 months ago because it was Timothée Chalamet. And he's had a run the last few years. I mean, especially with Dune Part 2 and A Complete Unknown in 2024. Him coming close to winning the Oscar for that latter film, the second film. I just felt like Marty Supreme, based on a little bit I'd heard about it, the director, the supporting cast, the stills that had been released, it felt like that would be an Oscars film. The movie coming out on Christmas Day. I felt like that meant the studio had a lot of like stock in that one, like they thought it would do well. And it did, There are some films I predicted earlier last year that went nowhere, right? And I think there's going to be a film with the word nowhere in it that I'm going to talk about in this old video coming up here. But the one I just was like, Marty Supreme, that's going to be an Oscars player. If it's really great and it does well at the box office, like that could win Timothée Chalamet his Best Actor Oscar. And as of this recording right now, it looks like that might well happen in March. So yeah, that was one of the easier predictions. I can't imagine too many people last March were like, no, Marty Supreme, even though it's coming out Christmas Day, it's Chalamet, it's a period film. Like nothing's going to happen with that. Most of us knew, like as long as the movie didn't suck, it didn't tank, like it did well and people liked it, critics and audiences, that was going to be an Oscars film, and it turned out to be. Number 6, Hamnet.
Hey!
So here's one I didn't know much about until doing my research a few hours ago. But okay, let's look at the director and the 2 stars of Hamnet. Chloe Zhao, Oscar winner Chloe Zhao of Nomadland, is the director of Hamnet. And in the 2 lead roles, we have Oscar nominee Jessie Buckley and Oscar nominee Paul Mescal. Yep, that was it, right? I didn't know much about Hamnet last March, but I'm like, okay, Chloe Zhao is the director. You have Jessie Buckley and Paul Mescal. And it's about William Shakespeare and his wife, and there's a tragedy, and it's a period drama coming out in the fall. Hamnet, just on paper, made a lot of sense. It's based on an acclaimed novel and stuff. I mean, I was kind of taking a swing on that one. Like, I wasn't so sure. It could have been a smaller film that ultimately didn't go anywhere, but I just thought because of that director and cast, like it was probably going to be at least in the awards conversation. And then, oh my gosh, I mean, I love that film so much. It's my second favorite of the year. Jessie Buckley is going to win the Oscar for Best Actress. So I am very relieved. I'm very relieved that I talked about it in that old video. If I had glazed over Hamnet like last March, and I was like, well, maybe, but no, I won't talk about it here, that would have been a bad call. I'm happy I included that in the video. And Hamnet, I mean, especially now, it's like, wow, that was always going to be a major awards contender. Number 7, Deliver Me From Nowhere. So this could be 2025's version of A Complete Unknown.
Yep.
Here is our big music biopic film, like at least one of them. There might be more than one probably, but this one's about Bruce Springsteen. It's directed by Scott Cooper, who is great, and Jeremy Allen White is playing
on
Bruce
paper, that
Springsteen.
made sense.
Jeremy Allen White from The Bear. Yeah, it made sense that Deliver Me From Nowhere was going to be an Oscars player. And it still's like, it's like, wow, like that really crashed and burned. Like it premiered at Telluride and it got pretty good reviews that first weekend at Telluride. And I thought, okay, it's probably going to be an Oscars player, maybe just an actor, supporting actor. Maybe it's not in picture director and stuff. But then it came out in October. I saw it and I was bored to tears, man. I was like, this movie does not work at all. He's not giving anything that extraordinary in this. Like, he's fine. I thought that movie, it was a disappointment, to be honest. Deliver Me From Nowhere. I gave it a 4 out of 10. I didn't even give it a 5. I gave it a 4. There's a couple decent things about that movie, but for the most part, it was very forgettable. So I was like going into November, I was like, is that still going to be an awards player? Like, maybe he gets in at the Globes, but that's probably it. And that's what happened. Jeremy Allen White got the Golden Globe nomination for Best Actor, and then that was it. Like he didn't get into SAG or Critics' Choice. Like, that was the end of the line for him and that movie. I just think the film, it didn't quite work for everybody, for audiences, for critics. It was just kind of a meh, it's okay. And last March, it just made sense to predict it because we were, going through a complete unknown that had just happened for many, many months. And like in 2024, I was like, is a complete unknown going to like overperform? Maybe it just gets into Best Actor for Chalamet. And then at the Oscars, it's in picture, it's in director, which I did not expect. Supporting actor and supporting actress, it got into adapted screenplay. Like, a complete unknown did so freaking well, I was like, Deliver Me From Nowhere is probably going to do at least half as well. But it turned out to not get anything. Like, it's not even in sound, it's in no category. So that shows you, even if it's a music biopic coming out in the fall, it premieres at a major film festival like Telluride, that doesn't necessarily mean it's getting in at the Oscars. That was the case for Deliver Me From Nowhere. Number 8, The Ballad of a Small Player. Okay, so I know almost nothing about this one. But look who directed it, and look who the stars are. Yep, the director is Edward Berger, who made Conclave, who made All Quiet on the Western Front from 2022. Edward Berger. So, like, if he's directing a movie, we have to take it seriously as an Oscar movie. Like that could happen. It's coming back to me now, guys. I think for this video I made 11 months ago, I was toying between Ballad of a Small Player and Sentimental Value. If I remember correctly, I was close to discussing Sentimental Value because of the director and the actress, like because of that pairing, Joachim Trier and Renate Reinsve. I thought, oh, maybe that could be an Oscars film. I think I had just heard about it last March. And I had like one final slot. It was between Sentimental Value and Ballad of a Small Player. It was Edward Berger who made the difference. I thought, no, I think Colin Farrell got an Oscar nomination recently. Like, he's the lead role. Tilda Swinton is an Oscar winner. And then Edward Berger, 1-2 punch of All Quiet on the Western Front 2022 and Conclave 2024. This man can't miss. Like, Ballad of a Small Player probably gets in at the Oscars over Sentimental Value. I got that wrong. Man, I saw Ballad of a Small Player at TIFF last September. I had been kind of prepared for it not working very well. I had seen some reviews. I remember it was like the last day I was there, I saw it, and I was like 30 minutes in, and I was like, no. It was like, it's okay. Like Colin Farrell's giving a good performance, but the movie just did not work for me. And so I knew when I walked out of the theater last September, I'm like, that's not getting in at the Oscars. Film editing might have been inspired. Like, technically it had some cool things, the cinematography and stuff. But I was like, I just don't think the film is strong enough. And it really faded. Like, I would say by the end of October, that movie had come and gone. So Ballad of a Small Player, that did not get in at the Oscars. I should have gone with Sentimental Value, right? That overperformed. That did very well on Oscar nominations morning. Ballad of a Small Player. Sometimes it's the director that gets me. When I'm thinking about the months to come, I think Edward Berger. He just made Conclave, and that's in picture, and it's, a bunch of acting categories that did very well. Why would Ballad of a Small Player not at least get into a few categories next season? But, sometimes I take too much stock in the director. This was that case with Ballad of a Small Player. Number 9, The Smashing Machine. So here's another big awards contender movie coming out in 2025, also directed by a Safdie brother. This one's by Benny Safdie.
Who won Best Director at Venice.
And there's been one, very kind of already famous still released of The Rock, of Dwayne Johnson, who has a very clear physical transformation.
That's what
in
did
this
it.
upcoming movie. It's a sports film. I wonder if that might hurt it. Yeah, on paper, The Smashing Machine made sense as an Oscars film. I was like, if that does really well in the fall, it premieres at a major festival, and people go on to really love it, maybe that could get in at the Oscars. Maybe not in picture, but Dwayne Johnson seemed to be a player in Best Actor. And then Best Makeup, I thought, was on the table. That did happen, right? This is a film that got into one category at the Oscars, Best Makeup. So that was something. Like Deliver Me From Nowhere, I gave The Smashing Machine only a 4 out of 10. I couldn't even give it a 5. I saw it at TIFF, and that was the big disappointment of that week. I really thought it would be better. The reviews out of Venice were pretty solid, and Benny Safdie won director and got a big standing ovation. I thought it would at least be a 7 out of 10. I was really surprised at how much it bored me, about how much that ending really just left me cold. The way that film ends, I was like, what? Really? Okay. And Dwayne Johnson is good in that film. I didn't think it was awards worthy. Emily Blunt, in a way, has the flashier performance as his girlfriend, but I was like, I think it's either both of them or none of them. And that's what happened. They both got in at Golden Globes and nowhere else, right? I thought at SAG they would at least go for one of them. Maybe just Blunt or just Johnson. But no, it was just at the Globes and nowhere else. And then at the Oscars, it only got into makeup. But I still stand by that prediction 11 months ago. It kind of made sense. Maybe it misses in a couple top categories, but Dwayne Johnson and Best Actor, I was like, if he's solid in that, if he's bringing it, he might get into that category. Emily Blunt, just having been nominated for Oppenheimer at the Oscars, it she made sense too. So I just think if the movie had been a lot better, we'd be talking about it right now. It probably would have at least a few more Oscar nominations than just makeup. But yeah, once most of us saw it, we were like, no. Shrug. Smashing Machine
what's
is going
number
to
10?
be something
I don't remember.
later this year. And number 10, Frankenstein.
Yep, that was a good
Guillermo
prediction.
del Toro's Frankenstein. I cannot wait.
Yeah,
that
was exciting.
He's one of my favorite directors. He's talked about doing a Frankenstein adaptation for many years. I feel like I've seen 1 or 2 interviews with him, where he said, oh, I would love to do Frankenstein. Yeah, even though it's Frankenstein, I was like, it's Del Toro. They nominated Nightmare Alley in Best Picture. The Shape of Water wins Best Picture and Best Director for him. So I was like, as long as that film is really, really solid, if not great or incredible, that's probably going to play a role this award season. I saw it at TIFF. I liked it. I thought the first half wasn't working so well. Once Jacob Elordi becomes the main focus of that story, I thought it really took off. He is incredible in that. And for many weeks after, I was like, could he get an Oscar nomination for that? I don't think so, but that would be awesome. And he wins at Critics' Choice in Best Supporting Actor. He easily skates to that Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actor. I was just so thrilled about that. Elordi being in the race, and he gives such a great performance in that film. And then Del Toro gets into DGA, and we're all wondering, is he going to get the Oscar nomination for Best Director? He might have been in 6th place. He came very close to Best Director. The film easily got into picture. It's in a bunch of technical categories. It's probably going to win at least 3 Oscars on March 15th. So yeah, Frankenstein did even better than I expected. And so yeah, looking back in March, I remember like toiling away on that. I was like, is Frankenstein going to get in at the Oscars? I felt pretty confident it would get some technical nominations, but I was like, it might be like Nosferatu. It gets like 4 technical nominations, nothing in picture or screenplay or acting and stuff. Like it did even better than I thought it was going to way back last March. All right, and then I end that video I made 11 months ago with my ridiculously early Oscar predictions and Best Actor, Best Actress, and Best Picture. I mean, I think most of what I talked about so far in that video are probably represented there, but maybe I throw in like a few random names. I can't remember. I feel like in Best Actress there was at least one other person that I didn't talk about in the rest of the video, so let's find out. I will just let this play. I will react to my ridiculously early Oscar predictions in those 3 categories. And finally, that takes me to my ridiculously early Oscar predictions, Best Picture, Best Actor, and Best Actress. We'll see, in many, many months from now, how accurate I was here. Maybe we'll have some laughs about it, early next year. But here we go. Ready? My 10 Oscar nominees for Best Picture are After the Hunt, The Ballad of a Small Player, Bugonia, Deliver Me from Nowhere, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, The Smashing Machine, and Wicked for Good.
I got 5 out of 10.
Actor, I have Timothy Chalamet, Marty Supreme,
DiCaprio.
Leonardo DiCaprio, One Battle After Another, Dwayne Johnson, The Smashing Machine, Paul Mescal, Hamnet,
I thought he would be lead.
and Jeremy Allen White, Deliver Me from Nowhere.
Guesses, but no,
and in Best Actress, I have Cynthia Erivo, Wicked for Good, Lucy Liu, Rosemead, Julia Roberts, After the Hunt, June Squibb,
I didn't predict Jessie
Eleanor
Buckley?
the Great, and Emma Stone, Bugonia.
I got 1.
What? I was almost certain I did predict in that video last March Jessie Buckley in Best Actress. I went with Paul Mescal in lead actor and not Buckley in lead actress? I thought Lucy Liu and June Squibb had a better shot of getting Oscar nominated for actress than Jessie Buckley in Hamnet, a film I had talked about earlier in the video as potentially being a big Oscars player, and then I predict Paul Mescal in lead actor. Nicely done, Brian. Wow. That was so bad at the end. Like Best Picture was okay. I got 5 of those. Best Actor started well, and then no. And then Actress, thank God, at the very end there, I predicted Emma Stone Bugonia. That's the only one I got right. Julia Roberts 11 months ago, that made sense. Cynthia Erivo in Best Actress, that made sense. So I took a swing there. Lucy Liu, Rosemead, what happened with that movie? It's still just wild to me. I guess it came out in December in very limited release. I saw Lucy Liu promoting it on some shows, and I never could get a screener for it, so I never saw it, so I've heard she's really good in that. And then June Squibb, Eleanor the Great, I think I had heard that might premiere at Cannes, and I was like, she's in her, mid-90s, and she's so talented, maybe that could get her into Best Actress, that would be really cool. But yeah, that did not happen, obviously. Emma Stone was my only correct prediction there. So at least there was that. So I'm pretty sure the year before I got all 5 in Best Actress wrong. At least I got Stone there. I got 1 out of 5. That's something. One of these years, guys, in my ridiculously early Oscar predictions, I'm going to go 5 for 5 in Best Actress. Could you imagine? No, I don't think that'll ever happen. But let me try to get 2 correct coming up here when I make that video this coming March. After the ceremony, looking forward to 2027, I'm going to try for 2 correct in Best Actress. That video will be coming your way in a few weeks, the ridiculously early Oscar predictions for 2027. I don't know about you guys, I just want to focus on the now, right? Let's focus on the current season coming up here. What is going to win at the 98th Academy Awards? But it is fun, right? it is fun to look back all those months ago to see like where my head was. What did I think was getting into picture and actor and actress? Imagine if I tried to predict way back when Best Supporting Actor and Best Supporting Actress. It would have been a bloodbath. It would have been terrible. So, yeah, I hope you had fun. I certainly did. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time at the Awards Contender.